Bill 1736. What is the pleasure of the committee? Representative Godfrey, you're recognized.
Motion do pass.
Representative Godfrey has made a motion for due pass. Is there any discussion on the motion? Representative House, you're recognized for discussion on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, colleagues. After much study and prayer and legal research, I discovered something that's very interesting, at least to me, and I may be the only one in the state that does care, but what I thought. Representative Blake is wrong. Gentleman that spoke against the bill, you're wrong. Anybody else that seeks to tell people what they should believe or think or recognize as a symbol is wrong. I have the privilege to regard a symbol as anything that I believe in. Now, most of you, all of you gentlemen that spoke, and some of the gentlemen here at this table that spoke, that are here, remember the time when people regarded the American flag as a symbol of oppression and violence and evil, and they would burn that flag on the street. And that was their impression of that flag. And the Supreme Court of the United States said, you can do that if you want to. You can do that if you want to. I wouldn't do it. I fought for the flag, wore the uniform of my country for 38 years. I love that flag. That led me to some research. Did you know there's nowhere in federal law that tells anybody in this country what that flag means? Except for one place in 1777. And it said that there will be a field of stars that will represent a new constellation. And then there was another bill in 1818 that says every time we have another state, we'll add a star. And it says that we'll limit the number of stripes to 13. But there's nowhere in federal law that ever tells us what 13 stripes mean, or what 50 stars mean, or 13 stars, or 15 stars, other than it's a constellation. Colors have no meaning under federal law. So you can believe whatever you want to believe about the American flag. I think if I chose, of course I wouldn't, it's silly. 13's a lucky number, some say. Some say 13's an unlucky number. Believe what you want to. Congress does not mandate any particular belief in the flag. And I've heard a dozen opinions in here about what the Arkansas flag means. It's great. I've heard what it shouldn't mean. That's great. But the real problem with this bill, it's telling people what they've got to think. If they want to call it the Four Flags Over Arkansas because we want to have a theme park like the one in Dallas, I could care less if that's what somebody wants to think. And so I think your bill is partially correct. I think the 1922 or 23 General Assembly that passed the law and says this means that was wrong to tell anybody what anything means. Mean whatever you want it to mean. It just says there'll be 4 stars and 25 stars and a diamond and red and blue and white. Now, that's all they should have done. All they should have done. And we could have called it the Four Flags of Arkansas. We could have called it 4 Indian tribes. We could have called it 4 corners of the state. That's up to each individual. Does anybody know what the symbolism is of the American flag? Of course, everybody in this room knows what the symbolism of the U.S. flag. But Congress never mandated that it had to be other than a constellation. Never said 13 stripes represent 13 colonies. Never said blood means valor and sacrifice. Blue means righteousness, or white means purity. Never said that. Actually, it was the Secretary of Interior, I think, that said that when he was explaining the newest design to the Congress. That's not law. It's his opinion. I was surprised to find this out. It's not in law. So I think that I'm going to vote against this one for one reason only, is I think what you have proposed rescinding is correct. But to go a step further and tell people what they need to think is incorrect, just as it was incorrect for the 1923 or 22 legislature to do. Thank you, Mr.